So you're from Bari, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah, and this is an Australian production, and it's premiering in New York. So how did that all happen? Tell us a little bit about the international market of this film.
Well, first of all, I've been already producing a film with Richard. He died with a falafel in his hand, which is his previous feature film. And after that, after a while, we started working on a project based on Michael Hutchence's life. We were trying to make it as a feature film. And the main problem was to find someone who could play Michael. After a while, Richard decided to change route and do it as a documentary, which is what he has just done. And so I'm still involved in this film as well, and happy to be here.
Great. So you've been involved in over 128 films, is that right? Something like that.
Sounds big.
And it's very eclectic, so you have Gomorrah, Loose Cannons, this, do the projects come to you or do you go to the projects?
Well, most of these films are Italian films that I've done over 30 years, so in that case many of these projects came to me. So if we talk about Australian films and what I did outside of Italy, then it's probably the other way around. Mm-hmm. So in his case, working with Richard and then Rolf de Heer and other directors around the world, and in Australia, specifically in Australia, it was me who wanted to work with them.
So how has your Italian upbringing and heritage impacted you as a producer?
I think honestly, I was not planning to be a producer at all. No, not at all. It happened to me to cover that role once, and then I thought I could do it, and I kept doing it. But it's something that was not so. No, was not in my mind at the beginning.
So what advice do you have for Italian Americans trying to break into the business? Should they go to Italy? Should they stay here? What do you think?
In Italy at the moment, it's not a bad time to work in this industry, particularly if we talk about shows, TV series. If we talk about cinema, it's not a great time to go to Italy and try. Particularly on the Italian films are not. There is a relationship between our films and the Italian audience, and that relationship is quite fragile, and at the moment it's not it's not working so well. It will change. It will change. So, no, I think this environment is very interesting, and I will stay here.
Great. I have one last question for you. My professor let me out early to interview today, my Italian professor, and he wanted to know, we're in a cinema, it's called Violence, Memory in Contemporary Italy, and you produced Gomorrah. So he wanted to know, what is the appeal of violence in films? What do you think?
Violence?
Yes, in mafia movies and things like that. Why are we so intrigued by them?
Why
are we so interested in mafia movies? Why do we have such an obsession in pop culture?
Okay. I think the Italian cinema did a lot to create that, but also American cinema gave a huge made a difference on creating this, but it's also part of our history, and not just of our past but also of our present. So I think it's good to tell the truth and to describe what it is without being ashamed of what is part of our what we have. And mafia has been and still, in a way, is something that it's not far away from us. So I think it's not a bad thing to talk about that, to describe it in films and on books. But yes, true. Violence is a part of many of our stories. Yes, true.